Good morning, everyone. My name is Crisanto Icadre, and today we will discuss the chapter 1, no? Art as a Humanistic Discipline. Here are the competencies. At the end of the chapter, you are expected to understand the role of art as a tool to aid human limitations. Relate art to yourself, to your context, experiences, and longings as a person. You have to increase your vocabulary on the language of art and awareness of its platforms. Inculcate values and humanistic attitude in your personal life experiences through the functions presented. Challenge one's critical thinking skills through creative ways of confronting life's problems. You have to practice the art of criticism and analyzing artwork because that is a skill that you can be applied to other areas of thinking. And lastly, you have to express your devotion and interest in your national identity through Filipino-inspired outputs. You just have to read the overview. And we have two learning outcomes. The first one is survey the place of the humanities in the history of Western civilization. And number two, distinguish the humanities and the sciences as fields of learnings. You have also the references, the readings, and the videos to watch. Now, how would you define art? For many people, art is a specific thing. It could be a painting, it could be a sculpture, a photograph, a dance, a poem, or a play. It is all of these things and more. Now, they are mediums of artistic expression. Webster's New Collegiate Dictionary defines art as the conscious use of skill and creative imagination, especially in the production of aesthetic objects. Yet, art is much more than a medium or words on a page. It is the expression of our experience. Art is uniquely human and tied directly to culture. It takes the ordinary and makes it extraordinary. Now, it asks questions about who we are, what we value, the meaning of beauty, and the human condition. Now, on this image, which do you think gives the right description of the crucifixion of Jesus Christ? Now you have to explain your answer of at least minimum of 50 words. Number 2, explain the reason why you gave that answer. So what is on your mind, or what was in your mind? Now, on the fields of learning, there are two, the sciences and the humanities. Under the humanities, you have language, history, art, and philosophy. And under art, we have the creation, we have the artist, and practice. And also, in the art appreciation, we have the spectator and the theory. Let's focus first on the humanities. The humanities actually complement the sciences and vice versa. It is only that the exactness of science is a mastery and the depth of the humanities is wisdom. Later on in our further discussion, we will know, all right? We will know why humans or why human beings gain wisdom through knowledge. Now, there are two general fields of learning. We have the sciences and the humanities. The sciences deals with the natural or the physical phenomena. Let's say, for example, the global pandemic. Okay? The pandemic, rather. We are experiencing right now what we call the coronavirus disease. Okay? And it calls for a natural phenomena, and it calls for natural phenomena. it involves science because this is a virus. This is a disease that needs to be cured. At sino yung tinatamaan? Hindi hayop, kundi tao. And this speaks humanities. It deals with human phenomena. Right? Maraming namamatay, maraming nagkakasakit sa ngayon. And this is our crisis, the phenomenal crisis. And it's true. Now, there is an interrelationship between the world as a science and the humanities. No? Itong tayo mga tao, no? Especially yung mga scientists ngayon, they have to learn the disease. Ano yung cure? Ano yung cure na meron doon sa anong cure meron tayo sa nararanasan nating COVID? Okay? That's why there is a scientific method. Okay? So it says here, the scientist needs to learn about the things in the world. Hindi lang sila magiging lenient. No, hindi lang sila magiging passive. They have to have the kind of research. No, that's why they have to undergo a scientific method. Kung ano ba talaga yung makakagamot sa coronavirus na disease na ito. Okay? So that's why there is an interrelationship within the person and the world. Okay? And then we go back to the basic. Now we go back to the basic. Now, dito pumapasok yung ating sarili, no? Sometimes we need to be reflective, no? Sa panahon ng crisis na ito, ano yung naitulong ko sa aking kapwa? Ano yung na-share ko sa aking kapwa? Naging grateful ba ako sa sarili ko? Naging grateful ba ako sa sarili ko dahil wala akong sakit? Naging selfless ba ako sa pagtulong sa aking kapwa? Sa aking pamilya, sa aking mahal sa buhay? No, doon pumapasok yung ating question, no, sa ating sarili. And yet, this is the time also that we have to ask yung kahalagahan ng buhay. No, bakit nga ba ako nandito sa mundo? Ano nga ba yung existence? Ano nga ba yung purpose ko kung bakit ako nabuhay? What is the purpose of my existence? That's why the basic question in studying humanities is, who am I? Sino nga ba ako? Let's watch this video. Now, there are these thinkers whose thoughts were the basis of method in the humanities. First, Socrates. He said, know thyself. In knowing ourselves, it is a long process. Hindi naman pwede paggising mo sa umaga, kilala mo na yung sarili mo. That's why it is a long process. It is a long journey to know oneself. That's why they are questioning, why have we not been able to find the answer? Because, as I have said, it is a long journey of knowing oneself. St. Augustine of Hippo, he said, withdraw into yourself because the truth dwells in the inner man. Tayo, pag gusto natin, di ba, minsan pag nawawala tayo sa sarili natin, di ba, pag ang dami nating problema, we are confused, then we withdraw, no? Nagwi-withdraw tayo from our ordinary life. And we ask ourselves, no? We ask ourselves kung sino ba tayo, ano ba yung kahalagaan natin, importansya natin dito sa mundo. But then, sabi niya, in withdrawing ourselves, doon natin nalalaman yung katotohanan because ang katotohanan ay nandoon sa kaibuturan ng ating pagkatao. All we have to do is to listen on that inner self. Again, we have two different fields, the sciences and the humanities. When you say the sciences, it speaks about knowledge. When you say the humanities, it speaks about wisdom. So what is the difference between the two? Knowledge versus wisdom. On the knowledge, the scientist becomes a learned man. No? That's why he keeps on studying. No? He keeps on studying like you, students. You keep on studying for you to gain knowledge. Okay? On the humanities, the humanist becomes a wise man. Pag ikaw ay tumatanda na, you gain wisdom. Pag ikaw ay nagkaroon later on ng magandang career, you gain wisdom because you have knowledge. Sabi ni Thales of Miletus, another philosopher, no? Sabi niya, a scientist tends to know everything about the world that he forgets to know anything about himself. Which is true, I agree. Ang daming scientists na alam na nila kung ano ang dami nila invento, no, sa mundo. But then, tanungin mo, who am I? Who are you as a person? Pwede ba nila sabihin kaagad sa kanila sarili na, ako yung taong mapagmahal. Ako yung taong, no! They cannot directly say that to you. Diba? Pag sinabi ko sa'yo, sino ka? Who are you? Sabihin mo kaagad yung pangalan mo. Sabihin mo na ikaw ay nakatira sa ganito. Na ikaw ay mag-aaral dito sa Palawan State University. See, a scientist tends to know everything about the world that he forgets to know anything about himself, which is true. Now, again, what is the basic answer to this question? Who am I? The basic answer to the question is, I am a human being. Now, for your activity, you will find the readings on the references. So please make sure that you have the readings, okay, because you will be answering questions. Okay. Now, you have two questions that you have to analyze. Number one, in the light of the study about humanities, can you consider the 7 wise men of the Philippines has equal importance among the wise men of Asia? Number two, what do you think are the qualities of Philippine art? In your opinion, what makes Philippine art Filipino? Now, you have to come up at least a minimum of 50 words. Now, for your assessment, you have to have at least a minimum of 50 words. Again, number one, if you were to add to the lesson, what would they be? Create new ideas or knowledge and share it in the discussion. Second, why do you think this philosophical theory of art can be an avenue for the discussion and dissemination of these realities in our country? How can the recipients of artworks be more involved? And for your reflections, number one, examine the philosophical theory of art you learned. What significant lesson did you find it personal? And in what part of the lesson did you find easy or hard to illustrate in the way that you learned? Why? So again, you have to come up with at least a minimum of 50 words. Then I suggest that before answering those questions, you have to look at the rubrics for your guidance on how to score. Okay. And that's all. That ends my presentation. Thank you so much for listening.